First up, how many people in Hong Kong will turn out to vote? That's the main question as legislative elections are underway. Security is tight, with the city still upset and furious a week and a half after its worst fire in nearly 80 years. All the candidates have already been vetted to make sure they're loyal to the Chinese central government. This is the second election since the elimination of pro-democracy opposition 4 years ago. Let's talk now to Jean-Philippe Béjart, China expert at Sciences Po University in Paris. Thanks for joining us.
Morning.
So will today test Beijing's control of Hong Kong or not, in your view?
Well, of course, it is a test for Beijing control and for the new pro-Beijing government. They have been very active in trying to making propaganda for this election. For 3 weeks, there has been all sorts of activities, including concerts and things like that, to convince people to go to the polls. And on the other hand, the National Security Police has been very active, and only today, the election day, 4 persons were arrested for having encouraged people not to cast their ballots, not to have expressed opposition to the government, but just to advise people not to go to the polls. This is now a crime in Hong Kong. It can be punishable by 3 years in jail. So, of course, the turnout is the most important thing. As you said, there is absolutely it's not a competitive elections. All the candidates have been vetted by pro-party forces. So now what will happen? Apparently, the turnout is quite low. It's comparable to what it was in 2021, which was the lowest in the history of Hong Kong elections.
Now, in your view, if we talk about this fire then, will this play a role in the vote? Is it a real administrative crisis, or was it more of a freak accident?
Well, of course, it's an accident, but it has been seen by many people as a result of the new situation. You know, for example, until the electoral law in 2021, district councillors were mostly elected by the people, and when the people were not satisfied with something, they could express their discontent with the district councillors, who would take action. But this time, at last elections in 2023, all the district councillors were pro-government people, so they didn't play their role actually, and didn't reflect the preoccupation of the tenants of the Wong Fuk Court. On the other hand, this fire has shown that Hong Kong civil society, despite all the dissolutions of all their organizations, is still very vibrant. Just hours after the fire, many people started an app to collect money to help the victims. People also went to the site to help victims to go out, and the government took it as an offense, as a danger, and immediately the National Security Police went to the site and disbanded these spontaneous help. The thing the government and Beijing most fear is exactly this very reactive civil society, which hasn't been destroyed despite the national security law and despite the new electoral arrangements.
Now, some of our viewers might be wondering why Hong Kong still holds elections at all, if we're to understand that there's no meaningful opposition.
Well, you know, Hong Kong is still an international city, and the Chinese Communist Party wants absolutely to show that it's one country, two systems. But obviously, it doesn't want to take a chance that the opposition, which all along the Hong Kong elections has always gathered 60% of the votes, that this opposition can make a difference. The idea is just it's very much like a propaganda act. You know, Hong Kong is still a different system. You have elections. Of course, only 20 out of 90 representatives are directly elected. They are vetted by the party, but still, you see, we have an election and people come and vote. So that's why the turnout is so important, because everyone knows that there's no choice among the candidates, but the government wants absolutely to show that it still enjoys support from the population, which obviously is not the case, as was shown by the reaction of Hong Kong society after this fire. Let's just remind that in the history of Hong Kong, catastrophes like that have always had political consequences. And I think that Li Ka-chio's government is very worried about the fact that it could have some political consequences.
Now, you've talked a lot there about the propaganda around this and the fact that people voting may, lots of people not voting may do so out of apathy. But can we at least expect the results that we get to be accurate? That's including the turnout figure.
Yes, I think so. It's not exactly one country, one system. There is a long tradition of honest elections, and the people who have to count the votes, the ballots, and all that are not cannot be bought. So I think that of course the figures should be we should trust the figures which will be published this evening. There's no doubt about that.
Do you think there'll always be elections in Hong Kong?
It's very hard to tell, but I think yes, there will still be elections because it's very important for the Chinese Communist Party to have a different system in Hong Kong, so that Hong Kong enjoys a specific situation on the international scene. We have to remember that Hong Kong has a seat at the WTO, that it is considered a different entity from China, especially in international trade, and this is very precious for the Chinese Communist Party. So I think, yes, there will still be elections, fake elections, elections which will be always won by the pro-establishment camp. But I think, yes, you have to go through the act. Yes.
Okay, Jean-Philippe Beja, thank you very much for your insights there.